Hey!
Hey, Theo fam.
Ciao.
Ciao.
I have something to say.
What?
I need to schedule my baptism because I'm throwing my hat into the ring for the papal race.
You are really looking like it.
Like the Pope?
Did you see that some people were doing that? They were doing a conclave on the streets, and people were pitching why they should be the next Pope. Yeah.
No, I didn't, but they
Well,
were
in
lucky.
DC.
They were lucky I wasn't there.
I know you would have won in this get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to Dweeb Wars.
Welcome to Dweeb Wars, where we are going to recap episode 9 of The Amazing Race, which we are on.
Whoa.
Whoa.
The final single digit.
I
made it
so
to double
crazy.
digits.
Yes. The race is really in 3/3.
It is.
And it feels like it. I feel like this is the time where we were all on this funicular, like we suddenly realized like it's next level.
It's one of us.
Like it's next level.
It's one of us. Yeah.
Yes. Let's just get started.
Yeah.
I mean, pizza nightmare, mozzarella madness, mamma mia, no?
Yeah. We? What? No, it's not we.
See?
See. So obviously the first thing you see about us is us talking about our fight in Rome.
Yeah.
Like one of the only fights we've ever had in our friendship.
It never came up again, but we were talking about it a lot in our audition and stuff like that. And honestly, this is a moment to reflect, Jack, about how much we've changed over the years. Like, the thing is, it was about navigation in a foreign country.
Yeah.
But really at
And
the heart of
we had
it...
our phones.
Yeah, and we had our phones,
And we still were fighting.
Yeah. Really at the heart of it, though, wasn't really about navigation.
Your thing was like, if we go your way, we'll make it on time.
Right.
And
exactly.
if I got us lost, theoretically, and we would have been late. Girl.
Just kidding.
But that's my thing, was like, I didn't care to be
right.
on time, as long as we were taking a lovely leisurely stroll,
Yes,
right? Like,
yeah,
I'm here to take it all in. I
Yeah.
don't need to take the fastest route. Now, in The Amazing Race, obviously, that's different. But I think we've changed a lot then. Because I also think it was a control issue, ultimately.
Yeah.
Like, you wanted to feel in control of your fantasy as well.
You wanted to be in control of your fantasy.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And
there were definitely tears. Obviously, we weren't like, you bitch! Like we were like talking about like, you know, our friendship and like what we prioritize. Like we, you know, but
anyway.
But
so we were curious about if that would happen, but I think we understand each other much better since then. And also we went to therapy. And also on The Amazing Race, you have the same goal. So we just don't fight that much.
Us having a debate show.
I know. Okay, so we go to Napoli. We're in the airport. We get into like basically a hired
car.
Uber.
Yeah, something like that.
It was like a private driver.
Yeah, that is when too. It's like there's so little teams. There's 5 teams. And I remember scrambling through that parking lot. Like people, I remember
everyone was running everywhere.
Seeing those people in the, like, you know, people across the parking lot, like Mark and Brett or whatever, and being like, who is going to the right area? It was hard to find these cars, but once we did, it was fine.
Yep. Then we went to the funiculare. Which was cool.
Yes.
All got on the same time.
Yes, we did. But this is where the drama really ensued. It was really high stakes this episode. And
I feel like, I don't know if you could tell from a viewer's perspective, but like everyone was feeling the heat. Starting now,
yes.
I feel like really.
And it was like basically a foot race everywhere. And of course, like, Alyssa and Josiah run marathons. Right. So it's like we're trying to keep up with them. People are getting lost. Like people are turning away. Like Mark and Brad, I think, made a turn while we were running with the group. It was just chaos. But we eventually get to this castle. Something happened where we all did the wrong thing, actually. And this is something they didn't show on the race. Am I allowed to say this?
Yeah, why not?
But we actually all did the wrong thing. So it like...
We didn't do the wrong thing. We just got to there via a different way. Like, we got on an elevator.
I know, but I actually think, like, because the debate was, we found this elevator near where the cannon with the flowers was, and I don't think we were supposed to take it. It was like, go climb up the stairs or something like that. But everyone took the elevator, and so I think that's why they cut it out of the thing, is that like technically no one was supposed to take the elevator.
Oh, but
so
we all
because
got the same
everyone
penalty,
did
theoretically.
Because everyone took the elevator, it was like, well, what are we gonna do? But it was like impossible to find. Like there were no tours around. These guards were like, this place is closed. Like don't go here. We were like, well, this is where the cannon has the flowers. There was something wrong. Like the police had boarded. there was these police barricades.
Yeah.
They had like barricaded it off, and the race didn't know that. So then we couldn't go up where we were supposed to go up. It was this whole mess. We had to go up the elevator. Mess. And then it became drama because Alyssa and Josiah found the elevator, but then
didn't get on the first
debate
trip.
was, are we allowed to take it? And then Anna and Jonathan and Han and Holden get in, and they were like, sorry, we're in here first. So then Alyssa and Josiah felt that they were like,
scorned.
They were like, we found it.
Yeah.
It was all sorts of drama.
It was stress. Everyone was like freaking out.
Everyone was freaking out.
Yeah.
But we eventually get on the second elevator with Mark and Brett and Alyssa Josiah.
Yeah.
We meet
Talk to the guy in the mask.
Yes, we meet our
Il
Commedia
Capitano.
dell'Arte.
It was Il Capitano.
That's
correct?
right. Yes,
Yeah.
we meet 2 Commedia dell'Arte characters here.
Yes. He was cool.
He was cool.
That section actually was so funny to me, that view, because we were like, oh, wow. Thanks, bye.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was like...
Yeah. Well, it's
so
just we were in a
fast.
foot race.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it feels crazier when you're running all around together. And also the competition is like so tight now.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Everyone's so good.
I actually, like, admittedly, before I even saw this episode, I was being like, I don't know if this is going to be a good episode, just because of how I felt about this leg, which was like, it was probably the least fun one for me.
Right, interesting. Yeah, lots of running.
So much
So
running, so
hot.
hot. There was a new stress in the air that was not seen.
Definitely.
Even when we were like hours behind in Bulgaria, it was like somehow that
Different.
day was like less stressful.
Yeah, well, when you're with everybody all the time, that's just more like if we're 3 hours behind, we said it's actually easier to like
Let
sort
go.
of release and, you know, whatever. But the other crazy drama that they didn't show was like we get on the funiculare back down. Like people keep asking other people for directions on the funiculare, but we were like, well, we're right here, so I want to stand next to them and look or whatever. But then some camera people got involved. They were like, no, they're asking them, like they can't hear what the directions they're getting. And then it's like some other camera people were like, yeah, they can. We're all here in the same train. Like, of course, then there was like a fight about rules with the camera people, and like it was this whole big thing. And then us as teams, like we really like each other, but we were like, sorry, this is what I got to do. Like Han and Holden seeing our thing, it's like, well, I see what your directions are, so I want to,
right.
you know.
Also, we all know we're going to be running there
together, kind of, yeah.
Oh my god,
it was tense.
And let's not forget the like scolding.
Yes, and then Alyssa and Josiah got scolded
By one of the camera people because they like ran off, and the camera person like lost track of them. Not for long. Like it wasn't like a Danny and Angie thing. It was probably for like
2 seconds,
60 seconds. But like then they got scolded in front of everyone. It was like, oh my god, we're in trouble. Like it was something was in the air today.
It
about,
was
like,
intense,
very strange.
And I wonder too. Like I don't know Naples very well. I don't know Italy very well. But I know that there's like a lot like attenzione pickpocket, you know, like I wonder if like they were like worried about safety in a different way and that's why we had this like
that's why we had these
Ubers
vibes,
or whatever and like but yeah, it was definitely way more tense than you could imagine.
I know,
honestly.
which is so funny because it's like mozzarella madness and
pizza nightmare. yeah. Emphasis on the madness and nightmare though.
Yeah, like there was some sinister energy more than any other leg. Anyway, we find the head, the good luck head that we have to rub the nose.
Oh yeah. Well, that I think is another Commedia sort of thing, is that he's like, you know, his nose is like a thing, I guess. Yeah, we get that. We choose mozzarella. We pass everybody. We pass Anna and Jonathan and Han and Holden. Now we're in second. We were sort of
there is a lot of like fluctuation
in the running, which I thought was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're in second. We get there right behind Brett and Mark. And we choose to do mozzarella, same as them. We beat them to the mozzarella. Now we're in first.
Yeah.
But barely.
Yeah.
And then
we flop in the mozzarella first, get 0 for 6. And Mark and Brett are at like 5.
They were amazing. I still can't believe I didn't remember that we completed it before them, because I remember them just being so good at it.
Yeah. I think what like you don't see is that like this is just so funny to say. So like something you would never say in real life. But like so you had to wait for the cheese to restock so that you could have enough cheese.
That's right.
To use for your
new ribbons.
For your new ribbons. Because once they were cold, you couldn't manipulate the cheese.
Yeah.
And so like probably they were waiting for more cheese. So there was a whole strategic thing actually about like
when to get a check.
Let's just go every time to get a check right before they're about to bring out the cheese so that you know you have fresh hot cheese.
Yeah, true. And I do remember all of us, there were certain moments where it's like, can we get some cheese? Like, so serious. Like,
literally.
I need new mozz. Like, you know.
More cheese, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, there's not enough. Please wait.
Yeah, please wait. Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun. Carson really did the heavy lifting this whole episode. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing during that.
Girl, I did some heavy lifting, but I also did some light lifting later. We've discussed, like, I think I'm better at sort of, like, knowing my body, kind of. And I was able to, like, know the way that he was, like, twisting with his fingers and things like that. Like, it was really a dance to twist this thing. But, of course, you are the quantity person. So we had the right, like, you know, if you put up anything in my hand, I'm not telling you how many pounds it is. I'm not telling you how many ounces it is. I don't know the conversions. It doesn't make any sense to me. So
not that I slayed at that anyway. There was a whole thing of me being like, it's probably over half a pound, and then we'd get all of them wrong. But
I think it was such a small sort of window. But eventually we found our right paths,
method,
which is like you need to figure out how to weigh it right compared to the one that's right, and then I will twist it into the shape.
Slay.
And eventually we get out of there.
Got out of there.
But when we came, like, we were still potentially racing for last, and then we realized Han and Holden get there.
Yeah.
We assumed that they might have been running together with Jonathan and Anna, so we were like, wait, now we're in front suddenly. It's like such a crazy swip swap.
And then another crazy swip swap because we leave, we're in first, and then suddenly we're in third when we show up to the grocery shopping challenge.
They really made a show of this. I didn't feel like we were... Uh-oh, burp. Sorry, everyone.
Editing that out.
I'm editing it. Maybe I'll keep it in. They really made a show of this, but I didn't feel like we were actually that lost. It was just like there's such a short window for mistake here with such small teams left. Like, we did run the wrong direction, but I don't remember being like...
Well, we were lost enough to lose two
couple
places.
spaces,
So I think they have to explain that a little bit, you know? And I keep seeing also people being like, why don't you ask for directions? Like,
of course
you
we
do.
did.
You're always stopping asking for directions.
Yeah.
And
of course, that's the other crazy thing is, like, sometimes you get the wrong directions. Like Jim's saying, we did. We searched up the exact address. Somebody gave us an address that was wrong. And then...
who knows what happened?
Yeah.
We got all turned around. Although that did seem like a theme also sort of all episode. Like Han and Holden and Jonathan got really lost.
Of course,
initially.
Yeah.
We got lost.
Alyssa and Josiah, I feel like at one point too, they were like all
they
turned
also
around.
got lost on the way to Mozzarella.
Mark and Brett were pretty good, but I remember them too. I think there was a slight moment.
Who knows?
Going under that arch. Remember that we sort of split off when they went under that arch or something. I don't know.
So that was kind of the craziest part about living it was like you would leave, and then by the time you got to the next place, you like had to reorient yourself about like what place you were in.
Yeah. We get to grocery,
which we do successfully.
Yeah.
It wasn't that hard. I don't feel like anyone had that hard of a time.
It's one of those things that's like kind of Mario Kart-y, where it's like we got up there, we saw Anna and Jonathan walking into these shops, so we knew that that's like probably where we needed to go. And also, by then, the shopkeepers know that teams are coming, they're prepared that teams are coming, and they know what teams are asking for.
Right.
So it's like we have to spend less time, although Hannah and Holden apparently spent a lot of time talking to somebody, but we had to spend less time being like, these are the ingredients. What are the ingredients? What is this? What is that? They're like, I know, I've given it to two teams already. You know?
Right. Then again, it's like somehow we get into first again
place.
From like a taxi. It was just crazy how much the placements were shifting all day.
Although it was really second.
Right.
But Mark and Brett went into the restaurant.
Now,
pizza nightmare. It's funny that they didn't show actually more of this conversation, because we were really, in the entire taxi ride, we knew we were going to Pizzeria de Torre or whatever. Yeah. So we were like, it's definitely going to be cooking. We had talked about earlier with the surfboard, because that was a restaurant we were going to that we thought it was going to be cooking then in Bali. Right. And that you were going to do it because you're much better at that. But we had this whole long car ride that I'm sure that I thought they were definitely going to show some stuff from, of me being like, I shouldn't do this. And yet maybe it's smart for me to, because you have done 5 roadblocks. I've done 3. Partly that was by design, right? Because we were like, if there's physical stuff at the end.
I don't know.
I'm more comfortable, but
when I think back to our roadblocks, we almost got it wrong every single time. So, like, you were supposed to do the dances, I did the dance.
Yeah.
You were supposed to do physical stuff, I did the physical stuff. You know, obviously I was supposed to, and then also I was supposed to do the height stuff, which I did.
Yeah, that was right. That was right.
That
the
was
climb,
right.
the climbing was right. The milking was fine.
Yeah, milking was fine.
But the ones that you were uncomfortable with most
was like, yeah,
were the ones that you did.
Yeah.
Classic. But again, I think I'm uncomfortable with less. If that makes sense. But still, obviously, I was uncomfortable with making a pizza. We were weighing a lot, and we were at the front of the pack.
Right.
But again,
hadn't seen
front
of
the pack
for a while.
Front of the pack is less cushion these days, so it's like a hard thing to decide.
Yeah.
But I did do it.
You did great.
I don't know if I would say great, and that's okay. I don't think I did great, but
you did do it.
I did do it.
And
I think
didn't finish last.
No, I didn't.
So our strategy worked.
Yeah, true.
Like
that's
ultimately,
true.
our strategy worked.
Yeah, I think that's right. Like, let's be clear. My pizzas were freaky. They were freaky pizzas.
They tasted good to me.
However, I do think this judge really. I think what he was judging was like, I do everything really quickly. Like that is probably my only priority in most things. Is like how quickly and efficiently can I do this stuff, you know? And I think with this task, it wasn't about that. And so like me trying to get this pizza on this thing, right? Like I think he was also judging my preparation a little bit, right? Being like, he's going crazy cuckoo mode on that table. So like, I don't want to approve this pizza, even though the pizza kind of, I feel like a lot of them were maybe fine, but like it was about like really pay attention to what you're doing on the table from start to finish. You need to be like attentive and not rush. And I think he was right about that. Like once I was like, okay, I just need to chill out, make sure it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. There were some wonky ones for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know that he was completely wrong, but so the cookie
and then
crumbles.
Mama rat, baby rat.
Yeah. You brought a baby rat into the world.
Yeah. And then
we had square. And then we had one that fell apart in there.
Yeah.
Then we had some that fell apart on the table.
I'm glad, honestly, though, that I wasn't like the only one. Like other people were having some flops, you know, which I thought was like, that I think brought my spirit up a little bit, that it was like not just like me. Because I think in that moment, what was so hard for me to wrestle with was knowing that I would be bad at this in the car. It wasn't that I was bad, right? Like we sort of went in being like, we're going to be bad at stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, but that we could control whether or not I did this. And if this cost us the race, knowing I was going to be bad at this and have the option to not
would have been like
been really tough for me. And so I think that's what was sort of plaguing my mind while I was doing it.
Yeah.
But ultimately it was okay.
Yeah.
Anna, of course, it was like she was barely there.
Amazing.
It was crazy. It was
Domino's
amazing.
Pulling in because they brought out the one pizza to all of us who weren't doing it, and Jonathan probably had like one bite, and then it was like time to go. I probably had like 6 whole pizzas to myself.
personal
like,
pan.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
But
I should have said that was my strategy, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, we have the time to spare. I need to fuel up my friend.
Yeah.
But no, alas, it wasn't.
No.
I was earnestly trying to.
But also I have to like step in a little bit and be like truly in a different world where this was an elimination leg and we did lose. I still don't think I would be like thinking like that it was your issue, because it's so easy for the brain to be like, well, of course I would be worse at this, but I could have been worse than you. Like I've never made pizzas, like I don't think,
I guess so. Yeah.
I don't think that it necessarily correlates to that.
True.
You see all the time when someone's like, I'm going to do this roadblock because I'd be better at it. And then they completely flop.
And they flop. Yeah,
So,
Rod.
And Letitia? What?
Yes, who he was like, I played professional baseball. I was going to go pro. And
Yes.
then he was like horrible at playing baseball.
Exactly. Like you actually don't know.
No, true.
I think also, I keep seeing people being like, how were you so chill eating the pizza. I was enjoying myself eating the pizza. We could hear everyone ripping their clues open.
Right, true, reading
and
them,
so when Anna and Jonathan ripped open their clue, read it out loud, and it didn't say will be eliminated, I was like, even if we're last, this probably won't be the end.
You, Jack, you are amazing at that. Throughout this entire race, you had a premonitory sense.
After Anna and Jonathan had left, our whole table had talked about it.
Scholars of the game.
Scholars of the
game. We knew something was up, but then we run, and I remember this was we did the same thing Alyssa and Josiah did too. They showed us a little bit of it. We had gone down the opposite side, like the back way around the castle. Same with Alyssa and Josiah. Potentially same with Mark and Brad. I'm not sure, but that means you had to go all the way along the water, all the way around the castle instead of like just going to the front entrance, because one of the entrances was closed or something because of construction or whatever. So it was a long run. I was so completely out of breath. And I do remember this one time you being like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, honestly, no.
No. You were like, no. And I was like, okay, well, we'll work that out later. Like, we'll work that out. We'll talk in the hotel.
Yeah.
And I remember you not being also particularly happy with me either.
Really?
Yes, because I was out there. They didn't show the half of it, maybe because it did come off as like dicky on my end. But I was out there like, woo, like eating pizza, loving life, and then like you're in there like suffering. And so I think like I didn't have mirroring your pain.
You know, again, we don't have all the pieces of information that the other person has because we've been separated.
Yes.
And so I didn't know about non-elimination. I was like, and so in some ways I was also trying to prepare you, right? It's not even about me, right? It's like Jack has so much faith in me that he's having a blast outside. I need to let him know how dire this situation is, because if he doesn't understand, he could be the rug is pulled out from underneath him. Like, what? How could you be last, right? If that ends up happening. So I needed to like let you know, like, I'm not doing well in here, right? Not just for my sake, but for yours.
And then I was just like, you're good. You're good. Don't worry.
But I was just more, I mean, it was way, way, way more frustration with myself and feeling like I shouldn't have chosen to do this. But ultimately, in hindsight, we did right. Like,
I think it was a good strategic decision.
It was.
Because you never know. You always want to have more cards.
Yes, you do.
Especially as the race continues further.
Yeah. And it's a little iconic.
Yeah.
Like here I am wearing the pizza hat. Like, but we do actually, something that they don't show as well is that we get to the mat and Phil tells us that it is a non-elimination leg, and it's a thrilling return to the non-elimination leg, which is a classic Amazing Race. People keep saying that this season is sort of giving us old Amazing Race vibes. New and old.
I like a non-elimination leg.
I do too.
I do. Yeah. I mean, as a player, when that happened, I was like,
no. Yeah.
As a viewer, and also like if it happened to us, I'm sure we would have been like,
yes,
best thing ever.
Yeah.
Again, harking back to the feeling of the day, it was like the hardest day. It was like, so for that not to lead to any progress was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I like it as a viewer.
Yeah.
I do. And I think it's like pretty well placed, because I feel like at this point in the race, as a viewer also, you're like finally starting to like really understand everyone. And
exactly.
So you want them to stay.
Yes.
You start to root for everyone.
Yes. That's a problem people have sometimes with the like split premiere of Drag Race, or like the beginning of last season as well, right? That it started with a keep racing. So no one goes home. When no one goes home, the early episodes, you kind of don't want that, because
you don't have the rapport with the
players. You don't like feel an emotional tie to keep people, right? And that's unfortunate, because as a player, you want to give everybody the opportunity to be known by keeping everybody on longer. But as an audience member, you want the non-elimination leg later when you have a real emotional attachment to some of these players. And of course, Han and Holden are being iconic.
Yeah. An iconic top 5.
It is an iconic top 5, yeah.
Everything's been iconic to me, but just fun.
Good group of people. And speaking of good group of people, if you guys are in the tri-state area, hell, if you guys are interested at all in any fashion, we are throwing a party here. Double 2-day finale party. Yep. The teams are coming to New York City. We have obviously the other Italian brothers, Nick and Mike, and Alyssa and Josiah lives very close. It was like an amazing place for us all to meet. We've got past racers flying in. Will and James, Team Miami.
Yeah, Molly
and Emily. Yes. We've got the podcasters from the Gay Amazing Race, I believe. we've got some incredible people flying in.
Yeah. Super excited.
And so tar37.eventbrite.com if you'd like to come watch the finale with us, with the cast.
Great cast.
I know. And I can't wait to race with these 5 teams again in Strasbourg, France.
That's right.
We went to France. It feels like when the race first started, France was so far away. I was like, that'll be a million years from now.
Because when we knew we were going to Hong Kong.
Here we are.
Well, I kind of can't believe we were on The Amazing Race.
I know there's different types of emotional reactions you can have, which are like, I can't wait for people to see the drama of the show.
Yeah.
I can't wait to re-see the sights that I saw.
Yeah.
And then there's a third one kind of that is like, I can't believe we were in Italy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, us two here, we're in, like, there's something about the balconies or whatever. I was like, wait. We were in Italy.
There.
Yeah. Starting to reattach myself to that gratitude of like, we traveled around the world together.
Yeah.
Woo-wee. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for hearing our thoughts on the episodes. We will continue next week with Strasbourg, France.
Vote for me for the Pope election.
Vote for him for the papal. And we will see you guys watch our other nerd stuff. Come to the finale party. Love you all so much. Ba-ba-da-beat-da-da-ba-da-sta. Mwah.